Alright, hi. What I did was I got a whole bunch of maintenance operational vehicles, operational manuals from Nordico. They have them for download. Groundhog Ballast Regulator, Operation and Maintenance Manual, August 2000, reordered PEM BB81. This manual, blah blah blah, Nordico Rail Maintenance Manual. The groundhog hopper base safety under the key operation. Understand all safety alt words. Follow safety instructions, general safety tips, safety alt or safety tag procedures, general information about this equipment, operational equipment, maintenance, machine specification, parts order. Before operation, startup checks, propelling brake and travel, machine setup, height and adjustments, machine operation, emergency stopping, and after operation. Uh, General maintenance schedule, general lubrication maintenance chart, general lubrication and maintenance chart, lubrication and maintenance data, week, month, and etc. Recommended spare parts, troubleshooting, general engine troubleshooting, electrical troubleshooting, hydraulic system troubleshooting, mechanical troubleshooting, and appendix A, B, and C. Suggested spare parts, optional joystick control, snow machine, and conversion. Alright, the groundhouse ballast regulators. Please read comply with all safety precautions in the manual before operating the machine. Generally, do not use the machine for the machine operation other than what it was intended to do. Nordico is not responsible for any modification made with the authorization without any authorization with a written approval. Replace all Nordico or OEM parts with the genuine Nordico or OEM parts. For the no OEM parts could compromise the safety of your machine. Follow the safety instruction carefully. Read all the safety messages in the manual. Learn how to operate the machine, how to use the control hour properly. Do not let anyone operate this machine without instruction. Safety alert symbols. These are safety alert symbols. These symbols may pay attention and use safety at risk. The danger typically defines most serious hazards. Danger usually means that the improper use could result in severely bodily harm or even death. Warning means that the improper use of cold result in bodily harm or extreme machine danger. Caution means that the improper use could result in machine damage. The groundhog ballaster. Only trained and authorized personnel should be allowed to operate with this machine. In addition, with all personnel should be aware of the safety concerns, their individual responsibility prior to working with this machine. General guidelines: handle fuel safely. Is highly flammable. Prolonged breathing of fumes may cause bodily harm. Prepare for emergency. Keep first aid kit, fire extinguisher handy. Wear good fitting pants and shirt no baggy and loose clothing, safety glasses, safety boots, hearing protection, hard hat, and be worn at all times. Safety during working. Nordico recommends the use of a command position. This means that the machine is never running unless someone is at or near the main control panel and the remote of the control boxes. To prevent injury to the personal damage to the machine, is highly recommended that one make certain that no one is in the path of the machine before moving the machine, whether the work is a travel mode, of making certain that all personnel have the left or the area before moving this machine. Slow down the work cycle, use the slower travel speeds, and suggest congested with the populated areas. Use commonly understood signals so that others can be warned. The operator to slow or halt work in possible hazard situations. Strong rains, fog, extremely dusty, blowing conditions can obscure the visibility in the work area. Wait for the weather to improve before continuing work. For anyone standing near the machine is in risk of being injured, can make certain that they keep away from any of the moving assembly during the working operations. There are standard guards in place with the machine. There are to be removed only when the service and maintenance is being performed in that area. Reinstall the guards after the working has been completed. Check in service of the fire extinguisher if it's provided at regular intervals. Make certain that all personnel in the trained to use it. Note that none of the use of the extinguisher shall still required and be recharged at an interval stated on the last expansion notice. 7. There are lockups on the machine that are used for both work and travel. These should be kept clear of the free debris and grease and etc. See lockup section of the instruction for their use. Inspect the safety decals. Replace when they become unreadable or damaged. Safety decals at the end of the safety section. Keep steps, walkways, top of the turntable free of oil, ice, and mud, ballast, and tools or other loose objects. When mounting, dismounting the machine, the use of the handrails and steps provided do not climb into the machine machine in any other manner. Only the number of the riders for which the seats are available are allowed on this machine during the work of the travel operations. Do not allow riders on this machine if seats are not available. 12. Never change the direction of the work travel without the first bringing the machine to the complete stop. 12. Safety during travel. Traveling in this machine requires all steps listed below. In addition, we'll always make certain that lockups provided on this machine are free of the debris and grease, and they are placed in prior to travel. Operate the machine carefully when bad weather conditions exist. Maintain the distance between the machines that will allow you the room to stop. Stop rain, fog. Strong rains, fogs, and extremely dusty blowing conditions can obscure the visibility in your area. Wait until the weather situation to improve before continuing travel. Anyone standing near the machine is at risk of being injured, making certain that to keep away from the machine traveling in the operations. Never change the direction of the travel without bringing the machine to a complete stop. Safety during maintenance. Although alter other areas in the service that maintenance is being performed on the machine, I'm familiar with the use and your company's lockout or the tag out procedures when performing maintenance on the machine. See the lockout and tag out requirements later to the safety section for a chart on the energy sources located on this machine. Do not start the engine if the repairs of the work is being performed alone. You should always have at least 2 people working together. If the engine must be run during service, one person needs to remain in the command position and all the controls ready to stop the machine, shut off the engine if a need arises. Machine safety alerts, danger alerts. You see the sign for the danger. Improper use of the machine for any of the type of the operation can cause serious injury or the death. To avoid serious injury or the death, we can make certain that the area around and around the machine is clear of all personnel and infrastructure before traveling and working. Serious injury or death can result from reaching into the working components while the machine is running, making all observations from a distance, and shut off the machine while making the adjustments. Shut off the engine when checking the battery electrolyte level. Do not check or fill the battery in presence of the open flame sparks or when smoking. Battery fumes are flammable and or explosive and if ignited will serve the bodily injury or death. Do not ride on the tow bar between the machine and on the towing vehicle. Falling from the moving vehicle may cause a serious injury or death. Machine safety alerts and warnings. Warning alerts. Failure to engage all lockup devices before propelling at the travel speed can result in injury to personnel or extensive damage to the machine. Tightening fittings only when the system is not pressurized. Higher pressures leaks can cause personal injury. Always turn off the machine when performing the maintenance, making adjustments whenever unintended movements of the machine could occur unless it's directed otherwise. Failure to comply could result in a personal injury or damage to the machine. Exhaust emissions could be used for use of the engine on the machine can cause cancer and may birth defects and other reproductive harm if inhaled. Discuss the battery before servicing the machine. Failure to do so could result in personal injury from the engine's excellent engine and startup. Warning alerts. You must always use the air treadle or parking brake to stop the machine while in the traveling mode. Failure to do so may cause personal injury or the machine damage. Caution. Safety alerts. Machine safety alerts. Caution. Before starting a new or overhauled engine that has been in storage, consult the engine manufacturer's manual for the initial starting instructions. Failure to follow these instructions can result in serious engine damage. Never shut off the battery, disconnect the switch with any engine running. This could cause damage to the voltage regulator, alternator, or electrical systems. And lockout or tag out procedures. It is your company's responsibility to develop a lockout and tagout procedures training you in the proper safety and use, and periodically inspect your work for the area to verify that you are complying with the procedures. Lockout and tagout procedures must be followed. This machine is completely locked out when the ignition switch and the battery disconnect switch have been turned off to the off position. The respective covers closed and locked, and however the sum of the energy stored in the hydraulic components of this machine, they must be relieved of the pressure prior to service to the maintenance. Nordico has provided the means to lock out the machine. The article cannot be held responsible for any injury caused by failure to comply with the company's lockout and tagout procedures. Energy sources. There are a list of the following pages and then provided information. Energy sources located on the machine instructions, inserting manual lockups if applicable. If your company is responsible, incorporating these instructions into the lockout tagout procedures. Importance. Notice. This machine may have been equipped with both manual power lockup devices. Read the energy source information closely. Do not assume that all lockups are powered. Lockout and tagout procedures. When servicing and performing a maintenance on an electrical system, control, battery, and wiring harness, the energy source to be locked out is the electrical. Using the procedure, turning the ignition switch to the off position, turn the battery, disconnect the switch to the off position, and close the lock of the disconnect the switch box. This will cut off the electrical power supply to the machine. When servicing or performing maintenance on the engine, when the engine source to be locked out is the electrical, turn the ignition switch to the off position, turn the battery disconnection switch to the off position, close the lock to disconnect the switch box. This will cut off the electrical power to the machine and prevent accidental startup of the engine while servicing. When servicing or performing maintenance on the propulsion system or engine support source to be locked out is the hydraulic. Turn the ignition switch to the off position, turn the battery, disconnect the switch to the off position, close and lock the disconnect the switch box. This will cut off the hydraulic pressure to the hydraulic components of the machine. When servicing or performing maintenance on the ballast plow, hydraulic gravity. Lower the plow until it rests on the solid ground. Turn the ignition switch to the off position, turn the battery disconnect switch to the off position, and close the lock and disconnect the switch box. This will cut off the hydraulic pressure for the hydraulic components of the machine. When servicing and performing maintenance on ballast wings or hydraulic gravity, lower the wing until they reset on solid ground or rest on solid ground. Turn the ignition switch to the off position, turn the battery disconnection switch to the off, and close and lock out to disconnect the switch box. This will cut off the hydraulic pressure to the hydraulic components of the machine. When servicing and performing maintenance on the broom, energy source to be locked out is the hydraulic gravity. 1. Raise the broom depending on the options of the machine. Either insert the lock pins in the up or down cylinder and lock the broom into the up position, pressing the lock level between the up on the control panel. Tilt the broom back and lock in place with the lock chains. Turn the ignition switch to the off position, turn the battery disconnection switch to the off position, and close and lock the disconnection switch box. This will cut off the hydraulic pressure to the hydraulic components. When servicing or performance maintenance on high-speed 5 plow, the energy source to be locked out is the hydraulic gravity. Lower the plow until the rests in the solid ground. Turn the ignition switch to the off position. Turn the battery disconnection switch to the off position and close. When servicing or performing maintenance on or energy source to be locked out, high speed when servicing or performing maintenance on a high speed one-way plow, ensure energy source to be locked out as a hydraulic gravity. Lower the pressure until it rests on the solid ground. Turn the ignition switch to the off position. Turn the battery disconnection switch to the off position. Close the lock into the disconnected switch box. Multi-positioning plow, hydraulic gravity. Lower the plow until it rests on the solid ground. Turn the ignition switch to the off position. Turn the battery disconnection switch to the off position. Close the lock to disconnect the switch. This will cut off the hydraulic pressure to the hydraulic components of the machine. When servicing performance maintenance on the side wing or long reach hydraulic gravity, lower the wing until it rests on solid ground. Turn the ignition switch to the off position. Turn the battery disconnection switch to the off position. Close the lock and disconnect the switch box. This will cut off the hydraulic pressure for the hydraulic components of this machine. Snow and screw blower. When maintenance on the performing on a snow screwer and blower, ensure the source to be locked out as the hydraulic gravity. Raise the unit depending on the options on the machine. Either insert the lock pins or an up or down cylinder, or lock in the up position by pressing the lock valve button on the control panel. Until back and lock in place and with lock chains. Turn the ignition switch to the off position. Turn the battery disconnection switch to the off position. Close and lock the disconnection switch box. When performing maintenance on the stone deflector, the energy source to be locked is the hydraulic gravity. Raise the unit depending on the units of the machine. Either insert the lock pins up or down cylinder lock in the up position, preparing the lock valve button upon the control panel. Tilt until back and lock into place with the lock chains. Turn the ignition switch in the off position. Turn the battery disconnection switch to the off position. Close and lock the disconnection switch. When servicing or performance maintenance on the transmission, hydraulic gravity, it's not to say, brakes, hydraulic gravity, general. And the next, I'll read. We'll start back at general next time.